In the heart of the neon-lit 1980s arcades, amidst the jingles of Pac-Man and Space Invaders, whispered tales of an eerie game called Polybius stirred the gaming community. Rumors said it did more than just entertain, it controlled minds. The game's reputation went viral. But what is truth and what is myth? It was 1981. The arcade's golden era was in full swing, and Portland was at its epicenter. Arcades were popping up all over the place. Shopping malls, strip malls, bowling alleys, and movie theaters, any place where a large number of teenagers or young adults gathered. Portland quickly became a hub for companies to test new arcade games for many reasons. One, at the time, this city had a growing tech industry, which included video game development and arcade machine manufacturing. Two, Portland's community had a great mix of young adults and families, making it an attractive market for testing. 3, the previously mentioned arcades that were opening throughout the city. 4, Portland was one of the early adopters of video game technology. Plus, it was conveniently located to major video game developers in the Pacific Northwest like Nintendo of America. Here in this bustling hub of innovation and gaming, in the dark of night, delivery trucks would drop off countless numbers of large, heavy rectangular boxes. Inside were arcade cabinets made of wood, metal, or plastic. They came in a variety of colors such as sky blue, banana yellow, and jet black, all with brightly colored logos pasted on the sides. Some, however, appeared to be nothing more than a plain black box. Prototypes companies sent out to be tested by the ever-growing gaming community. Players couldn't resist the temptation of testing out these mysterious cabinets. Long lines would form, with players waiting for hours, coins in hand, to experience these games of unknown origin. As quickly as these black arcade games appeared, they would disappear without a trace. One cabinet in particular would leave behind a tale full of mystery and intrigue. On the black square monitor of this arcade machine, in thick greenish-blue letters, appeared the name Polybius. At the bottom, in dark blue font, you could see the year 1981 and a company name, Cinesloken Incorporated. Numerous developers were hoping to make it big in this new market by pushing out new games left and right, but none resembling the name Cinesloken. Other than the opening screen, no image or video of gameplay exists. It's been described as a shooting game, similar to Atari's Tempest, but with trippy colors and abstract elements. It's also been depicted as a fast action game with puzzle elements, and something else seemed odd about the game while you played. Random numbers and letters flashed on the screen. What do they mean? Were the trippy lights and graphics merely playing tricks on their eyes? Or was there more to these letters and numbers than the players perceived? Not only was Polybius an unusual gaming experience, it also had troubling side effects on the players. For starters, the game was unusually addictive. People would play the game for extended periods of time, and the longer they played, the more severe their symptoms. Common complaints were nausea and vomiting. This could be easily added up to the game's use of flashy graphics, which we now know are capable of causing someone to have an epileptic seizure. But those symptoms were mild compared to the rest, which were night terrors, behavioral changes, amnesia, catatonia, and suicidal thoughts. Maybe that's why no one can recall the gameplay for sure. And of course, after about a month, the game vanished, never to be played again. Stories of men in black suits entering the arcades and removing every single Polybius cabinet without any explanation. Rumors flew that these men were secret government agents, CIA or maybe FBI. But what would the government want with this specific arcade game? Since the first mention of Polybius on the internet in 2000, many images of a Polybius cabinet or gameplay have appeared on the internet. All have turned out to be fakes, nothing more. Though it has yet to be proven that this game ever existed, no one has yet to prove that it never existed either. Do you think there's more to this urban legend than meets the eye? As it turns out, the CIA had been conducting highly illegal experiments on people for years before the arcade boom. These experiments included research with humans and mind control. The CIA was trying to create a new weapon, one that affected the mind. The project was called MK Ultra. According to initial reports, these experiments were conducted on Canadian residents, but it was soon discovered that Americans were used as test subjects as well. One of the chemists involved in these experiments, Sidney Gottlieb, said they targeted drug-addicted prisoners, marginalized sex workers, and terminal cancer patients. People who couldn't fight back, he said. But their experiments knew no bounds, and many hospital patients became unwitting victims of the CIA. The idea of mind control was inspired during the Korean War of 1950 through 1953. Americans captured during the war returned home changed, their minds warped, filled with hate regarding the American way of life, brainwashed by communist propaganda. The CIA also became highly concerned that the Soviet Union was on the brink of harnessing mind control technology. So on April 13th, 1953, the MK-Ultra project was approved, and human testing with the use of biological and chemical materials began. One of the known substances used during these tests was LSD, a powerful psychoactive substance that is primarily known for its hallucinogenic effects. Some experiments involved massive doses of intense electroshock therapy on patients who were drugged into a state of unconsciousness for days. This was called depatterning. After the electroshock therapy was complete, patients were kept in a drug-induced sleep for up to a month while recorded messages played to them over and over again for 15 hours a day. This technique was called psychic driving. The other known experiments included sleep deprivation. Though the end goal of the MK-Ultra project was to harness the power of mind control, there was a dire step in the process they had to develop first. The point of these experiments was to see what it took to break the human mind so brainwashing could be accomplished. The after effects of these experiments included night terrors, behavioral changes, amnesia, catatonia, suicidal thoughts, and sometimes death. Do any of these symptoms sound familiar? The MK-Ultra project lasted for years, supposedly ending in 1974, but did it? While America's youth continued to flood the arcade scene, the US Supreme Court was still learning how extensive the CIA project was. By 1985, the US Supreme Court learned there were at least 162 secret projects indirectly financed by the CIA, but contracted out to various universities, research foundations, and other unknown institutions. But cases of mind control don't end there. In 2008, a man named James Walbert proved he was a victim of an electronic mind control device. He had MRI images showing the small device implanted in his left ear and in the back of his neck by his former business associate, Jeremiah Redford. If you believe what you see on the History Channel, there are even reports that the governments around the world are currently researching sonic weapons capable of controlling the human mind through sound waves. When it comes to brainwashing, it seems there are no limits. It seems any one of our five senses can be used against us. We play games to lose ourselves, mentally, emotionally, physically. When we turn on a video game, are we putting ourselves at the mercy of developers? The Gamer has shown how video game companies use mind control in their games to make players feel as if they're in control. But in reality, the game is silently manipulating the player throughout the whole game. Back in 2019, NextMind unveiled a new device that would enhance the gaming experience, the NextMind Dev Kit. This device is a wearable, non-invasive electroencephalogram, also known as EEG technology. EEG is normally used in neuroscience and clinical medicine for studying brain function, diagnosing neurological disorders, and monitoring brain activity. The NextMind Dev Kit attaches to the back of your head using either a headband, a hat, or a VR headset. The sensors on this device gather data from the electrical signals in your visual cortex and allow you to control the game and even your television with your mind. Elon Musk has gone as far as to create Neuralink, a microchip that attaches directly to a person's brain. Could these seemingly harmless devices become the next tools used in illegal human experiments? Like other technology invented for the purpose of helping humankind, will they become another gadget used by mysterious groups to develop mind control technology? Or could it be that they already are?